Have you ever wondered when should you help your child read a word? When your child is reading aloud? Stick around today. That's what we are talking about. Hi, I'm Rebecca with the Parent Teacher Bridge, where you can find the ideas and resources you need to empower you to be your child's most influential teacher. And I often talk to many parents of children who I tutor, and they wonder, well, when should I just tell my child the word when they are reading and struggling? When should I let them know that they made a mistake? When should I tell them sound it out? Or is telling my child sound it out actually good enough and specific enough? That's what we are talking about today. First of all, if I can get by with it, I try not to tell my child the actual word. Obviously, if it's some really funky sounding name, I will. If it is a word like pneumonia, and I know they've never seen it, maybe they've never even heard of it, then I will, just for time's sake. But most of the time, I do not tell my child the word. So, what are some things that I do and what are some things that I say? Hey parents, would you like to find out about my course, A Busy Mom's Guide to Teaching Your Child to Read? Make sure you go to the description below, and if you fill out a form for getting my 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader, you'll be added to my email list and you will be able to purchase my course at a discounted rate. So be sure you do that. And if you have any confusion whatsoever, remember to email me, Rebecca@theparentteacherbridge.com. Number 1, I make sure that my child is tracking their print. So they move their finger along with the words that they are saying. There's a chance that they have said the wrong word because they weren't paying attention or looking carefully, or maybe even there's some kind of an eye problem going on there. So if you can actually have your child look at it again, see if your child can self-correct. Now, I did this earlier when I was reading with my daughter. She came across the word looked and she said took. So all I simply did was, on the piece of paper, I just used my finger and I tap on that word quietly. And she knows, as do my tutoring students, that that's code for go back and look at that word again. Now, I do that before the child just keeps on and keeps on and keeps on reading, because if they've said the wrong word, it can kind of mess with how they are comprehending the story. So a gentle little tap to have them look at it again to see if they can self-correct. Another thing that I may point out is whether or not the word has a suffix, because if a word has a suffix, that's making the base word longer. It might have an S added on, it might have an ED, it might have an ING, and so on. So if I can give them a little hint, look at the end of the word and see if there is a suffix, or sometimes I nickname it a tail. Now, Nessy Reading has a really cute video on something called head, body, tail, and they talk about prefixes and suffixes. I'll leave a link for that in the description below. And if they can find the suffix and they take their thumb and they cover the suffix with their thumb, then they only see the base word, which is a much shorter word. Oftentimes, it's just a 1-syllable word. And then they can figure out the word a little bit better. Okay, so I have developed something that helped my children when they encountered these words that had sounds in them they had not quite memorized. I'm going to show it to you, and then I'm going to leave a link in the description below where you can purchase a PDF of this very handy help. And let's get started. I'm going to show you that. You can get it today. You can download it today. I do recommend that you print it off in color and that it's laminated. This is what it looks like, and I'm going to show it under the screen so you can see how it works. Okay, as you can see, this is my reading handy helper. Now, I had something a little bit more basic with my oldest child that I found on Teachers Pay Teachers. But the person doing it, I wasn't crazy about the font that they used. It was kind of hard to read. So I changed up the font. I added some things they did not have. And I was able to use this for my younger 2 children. So let's go through it a little bit. As you can see, these are in a circle, an oval together, a grouping together, because they make the long A sound. These make the ah sound. These make the E sound. Of course, that's a bunny, not a rabbit. These make the I sound. Yes, a Y does say yeah, But a lot of times kids memorize that the vowel, that Y can sometimes be a vowel, but they don't even know what that means. Well, it's used as a vowel in the word fly or try. These can say O, but if you look down here, OW does not always say O because it can sometimes say ow, as in cow. These say oo, but if you look carefully, OO does not always say oo. Sometimes it says I remember my first child used to think it only said ooh, so if he saw the word look, he thought it was Luke, which was one of his little friends. Okay, then we have oi, and there are different spelling words on when to use these. You would not use this one at the end of a word, but we're talking about reading, not spelling. So they just need to memorize what sounds they say. And then this one's hard when you're spelling. It's a little bit easier when you're reading. You know, anytime you come across these three, it's going to say are, and, or. Now, what did I include extra at the bottom? I have some welded sounds. And I work sometimes with Wilson Reading. So some of these come from Wilson Reading, but you can make your own words too as long as they fit. Ring, fang, song, lung, pink, bank, honk, and junk. This is a vowel consonant E or magic E section. And if you notice, there's a U, an O, an I, an A, but not really an E. We know in words like these and here, there's a vowel consonant E with an E in the middle, but that's not very common. Most of the time, you're going to use one of these spellings to make the long E sound. But that's just to remind your child. So why do we have a C with an S? Well, when does the C make the S sound? It's a soft C here, circle, cereal, and bicycle. And a soft G says J as in giraffe, cage, and gym. So you can get this at theparentteacherbridge.com. So you can get the Reading Handy Helper at theparentteacherbridge.com. So when you go to theparentteacherbridge.com, there is a store section, and that is where you can find this Reading Handy Helper, and it is truly handy. I print off mine on cardstock and then I laminate it and I keep it nearby. So if my child is reading a book like The Sky is Falling, this is a step in a reading book, I can point out that why, if they don't know what to do there with that word, I can pull up my Reading Handy Helper and find a fly there and remind them sometimes the Y can make the I sound, and that's what it's making in this word. And the reason for these pictures is the same reason on your child's ABC chart, like in a classroom. They think apple for the letter A, and that's their default. If they can have a key word or a key image for these, they can remember when they see these in a passage. Now, that has helped my children. I really did not have to make flashcards, but you know, you could. You could sit here with this Reading Handy Helper, print off 2 copies, and just cut through, make some flashcards, glue it on some index cards. I mean to do that eventually, but I haven't yet. And I just haven't needed to because I just keep this handy. And the children end up getting to a point where they don't need it anymore because they pretty much know what to do. And they're thinking about what they are reading, so they have context. They see the spelling patterns, and they know what to do without guessing words, and that's the best part of it. So if this was helpful to you, leave a comment below and make sure you visit the Parent Teacher Bridge for more resources. Like and subscribe, and remember, you are your child's most influential teacher.